Hi, everybody. I'm gonna start with, in the first video of the spring meetings, um, it was just, oh, look at where the IMF and World Bank went to bring the world. We got Welcome to Europe's Most Hated City, um, Southern Europe, which had all its money injected into it in like at the turn of the century, and this is supposed to, bring them up to speed with the rest of Europe, and it was just used on hospitality, partying, tourism, and at the end detrimental for everyone there. I mean, this is the we see this throughout not just Southern Europe, but this is what we'll be looking at during the meetings, is how it's not, this is going on everywhere. Their development for the past 50 years, a la American Dream of Reaganomics, trickle down of corruption, stupidity, and laziness, and psychopathologies of the feminist and the anti-feminist. And that will be the focus. I mean, Georgieva, she's the managing director. She's the second female managing director. Before her was Christine Lagarde, and Christine Lagarde is over at the European Union Central Bank. So this is, Christine Lagarde, she seemed like a decent person. I mean, Georgieva, she's just a puppet. And, she's from Bulgaria. This is one of the things that we've seen, and you can see it with Melania Trump, Ivana, Trump's first wife, how these, and it's mainly Eastern European women. Because, I mean, that gets into, they were poor under the Soviet poverty, so practical. They're easier. Let's just say they're cheaper to buy. How shall I put it that way? Than Western women, and then American women. And even American women were more advanced in their feminism bullshit than excuse me, than the Western European, because of the development of the World Bank in after World War II, and that's where the Americans got their boom from. It's just these repeat boom and bust cycles that keep on repeating itself themselves, and war is a part of it, and it's got to stop. And the IMF and the World Bank are right next to the White House. And on the other side of the IMF and World Bank is my alma mater, George Washington University, which has been just as guilty of producing this shit show. They're all, but GW's real buddy with the IMF and World Bank. During the meetings, they use a lot of the auditoriums and stuff like that of GW. So what we're going to get into, we're going to look at Georgieva and Bulgaria, where she's from. She's an economist who has served as the 12th managing director of the IMF since 2019. She is the first person from an emerging market economy to lead the institution. She, the first minoritist. See, okay, historically, the IMF, the ones who chose who was the head of the IMF were the Europeans. And so it's always been a European. And then with the World Bank, it was the Americans. You had under Obama, you had Dr. Kim, and then under David Malpass, excuse me, under Trump, it was David Malpass. Now, David Malpass, Dr. Kim prematurely resigned. I mean, that was like, excuse me, Trump had just gotten into office and you're going to prematurely resign. So there, and that was from the internal bullying and political party politicking within these two organizations. It's just as bad as elsewhere in Washington. And the international development community is in bed with the woke illiberals. Although there's still these same pushbacks and stuff. So that's kind of what we'll be seeing and looking at their meetings. How much is there a pushback? What really is there a pushback on? In which direction or which directions are they going? I don't know. I think what we'll look at first, apart from women moving into the workforces into positions of power in commerce and politics, is the problems in the Strait of Hormuz. So anyway, Kristalina began her career by teaching economics, serving as European Commissioner for International Cooperation, Humanitarian Aid, and Crisis Response from 2010 to 14. She directed EU resources to aid those affected by crisis, including the 2010 Haitian earthquake. Yeah, it's all about crisis management, crisis management. That's all they did. Dominique Strauss-Kahn, that was his focus with the financial collapse, and let's just do crisis management and keep on throwing good money after bad and not address the underlying fundamental issues. As Vice President of the European Commission for Budget and Human Resources from 2014 to 2016, she managed the EU's budget and staff through the aftermath of the Eurozone debt crisis and during the 2015 refugee crisis. As the first chief executive officer of the World Bank from 2017 to 2019, Georgieva led significant reforms and secured the largest funding increase in the bank's history. More good money after bad, totaling $13 billion. She also served as acting president of the World Bank Group in 2019. At the IMF, Georgieva helped steer the global economy through the COVID-19 pandemic. And everybody remembers there was lots and lots and lots of concentration of wealth into the oligarchs and profiteering during that. Providing $1 trillion in liquidity and reserves, integrating climate considerations into IMF policies, and increasing financial and policy support to vulnerable countries. Yeah, David Malpass, the Trump appointee, he left prematurely because he wouldn't admit that, climate issues, climate warming, any of the, because it goes into just more than warming, any of the problems of the climate were not just man-made, and that these were also part of, cyclical climate changes of the earth. And that, all of these alarmists were just being alarmist, and they had to kind of look at the bigger picture. And he was right. But that was coming from the right and Trump. And so that, the woke liberals use climate change is, scaremongering tactics, just like the Red Scare with communism and the anti-Muslim stuff to justify all of the unending wars in the Middle East, which, if you look at my blog on LinkedIn about Amal Clooney, I also did a video about that, just reading the blog, because nobody reads it, about, how the feminists are the motor behind the violence in the Middle East and all of these wars and all of the jihadist men who are flipping out, just like inciting violence amongst the white men in the United States. It's the same, bitchery and witchery, which piss off women in the East, that piss off women in the West. And I've been showing the feminist movement. I mean, it's not me, it's the academic research of the feminists themselves, and looking at outcome. That's a key word within the international development community that everybody knows how to say, but they don't know what means. So, and as the UN report, in-depth study on all forms of violence against women, demonstrates 95% of violence in the world, physical and sexual, is perpetrated by men, but it is the women who are the motor behind that in the norms and standards that they set. We're seeing this all over the place with the Epstein files, the Me Too movement. They're attacking, indiscriminately attacking men. So, this whole thing that the feminist movement is this great success story is just gaslighting of the illiberals. And I mean, IMF, World Bank, they are controlled by the feminist and the minoritist. I mean, kind of like it doesn't, not rocket science. If our government agencies have been infiltrated by all sorts of foreigners, particularly we're seeing that in the Trump administration. It's comical because the Trump was America first. That's his whole stuff. But look around him. First, let's start with his wives. And it goes downhill from there. And precisely, I guess that's, I'm going to get into, if he had an American bitch like me, married to an American bitch like me, oh, this wouldn't be happening. And it's once again the Marie Antoinette story that, she was an Austrian and Louis XVI was the French, and, she's the foreigner, the Austrian. And this is where you got into the problems of having foreign queens within these marriages of alliances within Europe, and the people, not feeling that the queen had an allegiance to them, and that she was really their queen, and that, she was just there to sponge off a social climbing gold digger. And that's where the role model for all of these women flock into the West, whether it be London or New York, DC, or whatever, uh, to realize their dreams of fame and fortune with book deals, speeches, jobs in the IMF and World Bank to promote how violent and horrible the Muslims are and why we need to bomb them and kill them all. You see how it works? So she was reappointed a second term in 2024 and 2021 during her tenure at the World Bank Group, an independent inquiry led by former U.S. Attorney Ronald Machen, and the law firm Wilmer Hale found she manipulated the World Bank's doing business report by instructing staff to alter data to inflate the rankings for China and Saudi Arabia. Now, doesn't surprise me. Her leadership of the IMF has been criticized for being pro-authoritarian and providing forecasts of economic growth in Russia based on cherry-picked economic statistics releases following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Georgieva has been hailed for her work on gender equality and climate change. She was ranked on the 12th of the Forbes list of the world's 100 most powerful women in 2023. Yeah, unfortunately, I worked at the IMF for 7 years. I started there when I first got back to DC in 2009. I was at the IMF Family Association, and I was like, oh, this is great. I was sure that the IMF Family Association and the World Bank Family Network, these are the two expat wives clubs. They help the staffers, the families of IMF and World Bank employees coming from other countries. You have your expats. These people are the creme de la creme. They get, they'll often have housing allowances and generous housing allowances, thousands of dollars, their children's schools paid for, and they go to the private international schools. And Beatrix Keller, who was the chair of the IMF Family Association, who stabbed me in the back and found that work that I had been doing there for 2 years was so wonderful, she took credit for it, went to the HR department, said that I was a useless bitch who was claiming overtime that she hadn't authorized, which is like so ludicrous. It's not even funny. When I saw that, I was like, oh, don't even try with this with me, bitch. And they got rid of me. Oh, I mean, this was. Now, I had come up with the idea with global expats because I had served on the board of these expat wives clubs, and I had been the president of the French expat wives club in Bogota, K. And I had been on the board of American Women's Club there. And I believed, and I believe in the ability of those organizations to help families and provide not only just logistical support, but the networking and for these women in, if they wanted to have any professional interests or, just hobbies and personal stuff. I mean, it depends. It really all depends on how old your children are. Because for younger kids, of course, you are more labor intensive in the home and with them, and you have less free time. The older the kids get, of course, the more you can become involved. I mean, that's what happened with me. And stop this, oh, we're going to move abroad so we can hang out in country clubs, and, using these clubs as social time climbing tools for a bunch of gold digging, backstabbing witches. And that's what it is. They were started in, the model was started in 1931 by an American in Paris who believed that enlightened women around the world could do much to promote world peace. And that's, even though I am supporting America First and nationalism and nationalist movements across the globe, I still am a globalist. I mean, it's funny, but if you'll follow perhaps my coverage of the World Bank, I think you'll understand how I can be at the same time a nationalist and promoting nationalism and local, buy local type of economies, and but at the same time wanting to recognize the importance and the place of a global economy. And I mean, I'm not, I believe in the structure of the IMF, the World Bank, and the UN, and you read their bylaws and you see why they were started and all of that, just like democracies. But you got to make it work. And that's not going to happen with people who only care about themselves and stuff in their pocket and advancing the agenda of their different little factions. And we'll see in here so I was at the IMF, and Beatrix Keller, she's French. She was born in Tunisia, so it's what they call a pied noir. My ex-husband was, I mean, I don't know, technically or not technically, because he was Spanish, or he is, excuse me, he is Spanish. Um, but he was born in Morocco, and then he later got a French nationality. So he's a naturalized French pied noir. Because a pied noir is a French citizen who was born either in Tunisia or Morocco, or one of these protectorates. And there's this certain imperialism usually about the pied noir, and elitism that the French contend that they don't have. And once again, it depends, it's the same as everywhere. The working class, the lower classes, they're they're no more refined or different than any other working classes in any other place. And the different upper crust who are pretentious. I mean, like the British gave me the same attitude. Americans will find this all the time with the Europeans, the British, the Spanish, the French, particularly much more so than the Northern Europeans, this superiority and denigration towards the Americans. I mean, like the the Norwegians, the Swedes, stuff. It's this, we're socialist and we're egalitarian and we have wonderful health care, and so nothing else matters. And I mean, the farther you get north, the more they get, um, how shall I say it? Têtu, they say in French, just stubborn, that they are superior. But but then if you look, for example, you go to the Louvre, or you look like at the cuisine, or some of these things that have been attached since medieval times to what it meant to be cultivated and cultured in Europe, your cuisine, your textiles, your artwork, and they The Italians, the French, they were at the forefront, let's say, for a long time during the Renaissance. So anyway, that's a little history lesson there. But so her early life. Georgieva was born in Sofia, Bulgaria, to Ivan Stefanov Georgiev, a road worker and civil engineer, and Marinka Petrova Mikhailova, a shopkeeper. So this is again, a working class, never, realizing her dreams as president of the or managing director of the IMF. It doesn't surprise me that she has been criticized for being pro-authoritarian. I mean, this is one of the big problems with social mobility. Um, these people, they're brainwashed, socialized, however you want to call it, from birth, to they're going to achieve great things. They're going to climb up the social ladder. They're going to, get to the top of the heap, get to the top of the heap. But in the traditional society, those who are born into the top of the heap, it's indoctrinated into you that you're here to serve. You're just a commodity and you're here to serve. Now, sometimes, the dandies, that doesn't, it produces some people who are like, no, I'm not serving anybody. I'm just going to serve myself here at the table. And then you get the, like what you see with Trump's children, but the Biden kids, they're no better. I mean, and the Kennedys, oh my goodness. See, that this is, we can go back to the Kennedys. And I mean, it's unfair to blame it all on the Kennedys, but Ethel, particularly Ethel and Jackie, all of the Capote swans have had their little hands in there. It's from New York and DC. And this is, Georgieva and Christine Lagarde before her, Anne St. Clair. She was married to Dominique Strauss-Kahn, who was arrested in 2011 for sexual assault of a soft retail maid, if everybody remembers. And I said at the time, I said, that was to take him out of the presidential elections in France. But excuse me, am I the only one who seems to be noticing here that we have French nationals interfering on foreign soil in elections in the United States? And I mean, the thing is everybody knew about, well, he's called DSK's zipper problems. Everybody, this is like, the worst kept secret in all of France. So it wasn't hard to take him out, and lo and behold, but it's like, you guys, you don't do that on American soil. But of course, oh, New York, what a better place. We got the New York courts and the feminists. This is gonna be real easy. So her see how they've been playing, that these guys have been playing the same, and they're in bed. This is all part of the Epstein files. All of these people. Her great-grandfather was a prominent Bulgarian revolutionary, Ivan Karshovsky. See, this is one of the things that I learned with my ex-husband. Both of his grandfathers were on the losing side of the Spanish Civil War. Yeah, well, you revolutionaries, you just want, you know, blood and violence, and to overthrow the oppressor so you can become the new one. My my ex-husband's, his mother's grandfather, his mother's father um, was a communist, but he, recognized, he was like, oh, they're just the same. The anarchist, he was just, I was like, see, these guys just want, no rules, so they can do anything and everything they want. And they're violent SOBs. Georgieva holds a PhD in economics and an MA in political economy and sociology from the Karl Marx Higher Institute of Economics, now called University of National and World Economy in Sofia. Her thesis was entitled Environmental Protection Policy and Economic Growth in the U.S. Oh, I should try and get a hold of a copy of that. Georgieva was one of the first Bulgarian economists to study in the West before the fall of the Berlin Wall. In 1990, she published the first textbook in the Bulgarian language on microeconomics, explaining in simple terms how a market economy works. She was a postdoctoral research fellow in natural resource economics and environmental policy at the London School of Economics from 1987 to 1988, a Fulbright fellow at the Mass Institute of Technology, and a visiting professor in Fiji at the University of South Pacific. Georgieva is fluent in Bulgarian, English, and Russian, and also speaks some French. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Bulgaria. 80 hours in the country, everyone wants to leave. This is, I'll be using a lot. I really like Spanian. He's an Australian young man who spent quite a lot of years in prison. He was a drug addict and just has had some challenges. And I'm really getting tired, sort of this, unless you are a reformed drug addict, if you like Russell Brand, you know, oh, you've seen the light. You did all of these horrible things, but you've seen the light. So we love you now. But somebody who's led an honest, straightforward life and hasn't gotten into drugs, didn't get into entertainment, didn't want any of that and stuff, like, that's not appreciated. That's like seen as bad. It's seen as somebody who hasn't done anything with their life. It's like, oh, well, I'm sorry if I realized I had to become a drug addict first in order to be, and then clean my act up in order to be accepted in your diversity, equity, and inclusion groups. Who would have known? Who knew? You know? Yeah, so see, that's the kind of the state of affairs. So, it's like, no, sorry, this is not sustainable development that you people are trying to promote. So, as I say, we're going to take a quick tour with the yes theory. These guys are a little bit more, these guys, see, the problem that I have with these guys, they're kind of like, they're Northern European frat boys, if that makes any sense to anybody. Because, yeah, the Northern European universities, I highly doubt they have fraternities and sororities. That is a very American and English. I don't know if they definitely have the fraternity stuff in England, but sororities, that might be like very American. And the problem with the sorority is it's the same thing as the beauty queen pageants, which we saw with Erica Kirk, how that's being used as a social climbing tool, triage for sugar babies coming in looking for sugar daddies, getting into, going to New York to realize your dreams as a fashion designer. Real estate sales agent who doesn't sell anything. Yeah, kind of like, you got a lot of jobs that, okay, but have you sold anything? Yeah, so anyway, this is not sustainable, but this is what everybody wants to promote. And as I say, you'll see with these guys, I'll be doing a lot with the yes theory people and Spanian in here.
There's a country that people are trying to leave faster than anywhere else on Earth. Between 2020 and 2050, it is forecasted that the total population of this country is going to decrease by a whopping 22.5%. And between 1989 and today, it's already declined from around 9 million to 6.5. An almost 30% decrease. But why is everyone trying to leave this place? Well, to go on an adventure in this country to discover it from various sides, we've assembled a dream team for a road trip crossing the country and see what we can grasp as visitors of this mysterious country of Bulgaria. There was a plot twist on this trip, however.
And I mean, you have to understand, here, we'll look at map of Europe. No, I don't want you there. Images. Let's see. I don't want you. So, see, Bulgaria. Come on up. Bulgaria's over here. This isn't near the Mediterranean. It's near Turkey, Greece. This is like, I'm like, why wouldn't anybody want to live there? Like, this is prime real estate in Europe. This is not like way up north where it's like freezing cold where you want to live. I mean, okay, it's maybe not as warm as Turkey or sunny Spain or something, but there was some at this restaurant where I worked, where a lot of the IMF and World Bank people came in, the girls who worked there. The restaurant was Greek, but and that Greek owner, it's like, okay, here's another example of somebody who's coming here to trash this country, running the place into the ground. It was two women who worked there who were Bulgarian. So they had a lot of Bulgarian people coming in and a lot of Bulgarian friends. And, they're like, oh yeah, our country is shit. And this is left over from the communist rule and the Soviets, but because, you got communism has different flavors. None of them taste very good, but still, it's like, come on. How is it that you're not developing? This would be a wonderful place to live.
However, that only Stefan and I were aware of.
All right.
Oh, Bulgaria.
We're in Bulgaria.
This is a cool spot in Bulgaria.
This airport bus.
There's like a nice truck over there.
You mean the plane? How much this?
Oh, Eric is here.
Whoa, what are the chances? You're supposed to be in New York.
This is our friend Eric. He joined us on a lot of adventures in 2021 and 22. He then got into the best acting school in the world, Juilliard in New York City. And that's where he's been, chasing his dream of becoming an actor and filmmaker these last 2 years. We missed traveling with him.
Chasing his dream of becoming a film actor. And, everybody is chasing their dreams in New York City and Washington, D.C., while the rest of the world goes to shit.
And as he had an open week in his busy schedule, he joined us once again on an adventure in Eastern Europe.
Part of the group. You scared me, bro.
See, this is what I say, that this is kind of these like Northern European frat boy type things. And we'll see also in these videos how that the role models that have been this whole frat boy stuff, and I'm chasing my dreams of being an artist, is not working out well for anybody.
There's a plot twist to this video that only part of the trip is aware of. So let's go outside and announce it to them.
Oh, first step in Bulgaria.
Wow. Oh.
Bulgaria.
My boys, there is a layer to this twist.
Oh, no.
Are
you serious? I knew it. What's going on?
Bulgaria is the cheapest country in Europe.
Yay.
So for every night that we're spending here, we've booked the most expensive place we found in the city and the cheapest place we found in the city. And we have a coin.
Oh my God. Wait, let me pray. It's all making sense now.
And so Stefan and I are the first team. Let's go!
Do we re-flip every day?
Yeah, every day is a new flip.
Okay, new flip. Okay.
We decided to test something new in this episode to make the road trip a whole lot more unpredictable. We have 3 nights in the country, 3 coin flips for 3 chances at the most expensive or the least expensive hotel in whatever city we're in that day.
We picked the Eagle side. We picked number 1.
Yeah.
We picked number 1. More because we're number 1. Boom.
Yes. How are you? Are you Bulgarian?
Yes.
Okay, great. What's your name?
My name's Amy.
So we have this challenge here, and we need someone to flip a coin for us.
Okay.
Can you be that man to do it?
Yes, of course I will. Here you go.
Thank you. This is great. This is so great. I just flew, 11 hours? That's the last video I'm in. I took a 2-year break just to come back and get... Oh, that's a great start.
All right, team! The first plan of the day is just to get into the capital city and see if we can make some friends until we check into our lovely hotel and less lovely hotel.
It's about the company. Yeah. Oh, I forgot my wallet.
There's TV? That's so bad.
I know Adam Sandler spoke Bulgarian.
On our road trip this week, we will cross the country from the capital city of Sofia all the way across to the coast of the Black Sea on the other side. Along the way, we'll be stopping at the country's famous Rose Festival and end at their Fire Festival, a tradition where people walk and dance on burning hot coals. Throughout the trip, each team will unfortunately have 3 very different experiences, with Eric and Tommy soon to find out how bad hotels can get in Europe's cheapest country. Well, so far, Sofia seems very beautiful. There are people out in the parks. It looks quite communal. Stefan is running over almost everywhere. Stefan, you used to beep. It's just Stefan, I think the worst driver I've ever driven.
Now, see, this is pre-development. This is one of the advantages. They haven't had all of the tourism, this mass hordes of tourism and party hardy development that it destroys these countries. So which we'll be seeing as well in the videos we'll be looking at.
Not true. It's the country with the rapidest population decline. By 2050, they're going to lose 25% of their population, which isn't happening at this pace really anywhere else in the world. 1 in 4 technically is not going to be here in 2050.
Wow. Yeah, I was 10 when I started.
Oh my God.
Why are
Making a story about your beautiful country. Well, what's your favorite part about Bulgaria?
You know, the culture and the people. They're pretty friendly. The friendliest people in North for me are Bulgaria.
We heard that Bulgaria is the country with the rapidest population decline.
To be honest, I don't have a reasonable explanation about that. Weather is way better, it's way cheaper.
Yeah.
Cheapest country in the EU.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but it's okay. I mean, more space for us. The last year, right?
Is everyone in Bulgaria extremely friendly?
They are so friendly.
So far, Bulgaria is amazing.
It's incredible. It's crazy.
The guy's like, I don't know why people are leaving.
It's the cheapest country in the EU and it's nice. The weather's beautiful. We came from Paris where it was like raining in June.
You live in New York. It's like one of the top 5 most expensive places in the world.
I'm moving here tonight.
Also, do you have a dog and a fiance?
Whatever.
As we kept exploring and looking for some interesting locals to talk to, we think we hit the jackpot with this absolutely magnetic laugh. Nice to meet you, I'm Thomas. Nice to meet you. It's a cool name, Gergana.
What is the best with Bulgaria, you would say, like living here? What's something
You're free.
Oh.
There is no other place in the world you have that freedom. In Bulgaria, I can enjoy the theater, the opera, the music and all that in the very low prices.
And what were you going to do in the church? What did you say?
We are singing tomorrow. I'm a singer. I'm an opera singer.
What? Wow.
And I'm singing Saturday and Sundays. I'm singing here in the church. You will enjoy if you came tomorrow.
Yeah, where did you get this mindset of just being so open and saying yes to life, man?
I don't know, because maybe I'm like that, or maybe because I'm from Burgas and we have a lot of connection with when was the communist, with the other countries, you know.
Do you remember that time?
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Was it different?
Yeah, it was very different. It was not bad, it was different, just different.
Bulgaria's communist history is quite unique. They were allied to the Soviets, but they were never a part of the Soviet Union. Communist rule took over right at the end of World War II, and the monarchy was abolished. The government implemented large-scale collectivization of agriculture and pushed for rapid industrialization. But the early years were also marked by Stalinist influence, which included purging of political opposition and censorship. Despite improvements in literacy, healthcare, and women's rights, the economy stagnated in the 1980s, which eventually led to an uprising of protests and the eventual fall of communist rule in 1989. The transition has been long and difficult, marked by further economic hardship and political instability. These decades of challenges in large part seem to explain why people are leaving the country as rapidly as they are. Despite that, our first impressions so far have been—
But see, this development, modernization, advancing women's rights, I love how they always slip that one in. Nobody is advancing women's rights. In fact, this movement of women from the home into the workplace, we'll be looking at that, is degrading the women's rights and just transforming work that was previously done by women in the home and family into paid taxable income and goes into government coffers and income tax. And, you know, if you look at the United States, I forget when the income tax, let's see, when was the income tax created in the U.S.? 1913. Just in time to fund World War I. You get the picture? So it's not this socioeconomic model that everybody's been promoting for centuries and centuries during the Industrial Revolution is not sustainable and is always imploding, whether it was done under the communist or the capitalist, the supposed capitalist. And it gets into capitalism, Bernard Mandevillian capitalism, where it's based on the belief, well, you know, it doesn't matter what produces the jobs. I mean, prostitutes, drug addicts, drug pushers, thieves, police officers. I mean, these are all creating jobs and economies. But I'm like, yeah, but it's not a very sustainable or moral socioeconomic model. So, you know, like, so, I mean, then I'm like, capitalism, I'm a capitalist all the way, and a free trade capitalist, but it is free trade a la Adam Smith, which is, well, cobblers, bakers, shipbuilders, butchers. Those also create an economy, but you create a more sustainable economy. And that's where it's go local, you know, buy local. For example, take Bulgaria. They're saying, my gosh, it's wonderful here. Go there, you know how to bake bread. You know, go and start a bakery if there's a need for it in some neighborhood or some village. Go, you know how to, you're an electrician. Hell, electricians, they need them all the time. Electrician, plumber, construction, bankers, we need them, but we need to retrain them. So there's a lot of different things that you can do if you're a carpenter. You know, we also need to start focusing on producing jobs that fulfill the needs of an economy instead of all of these white collar workers, madmen of the advertising era, or the wolves of Wall Street and the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world. So
been very positive.
We were gonna go eat.
Let's go.
Is this good or no?
Scarabar, no.
Okay.
if you listen to her conversation, I think this girl was a sugar baby to more than one Russian. Well, Russian, but I mean, it was for a singer. I don't think she had such an easy life, and this is also her being so free and liberal. I think it's kind of a facade for this bohemian lifestyle that is not quite as liberating as everybody wants to promote.
I show you a very good place to eat Bulgarian food.
Is this? Wait, I don't think we could have met a better person in Sofia today.
Yes, I'm the best.
And just like that, this spontaneous, energetic Bulgarian mom took us under her wing, and we were now at her mercy.
How they serve the bread? It's a performance.
Juliana, you are spoiling us with love.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find her children and interview her children and find out that whole situation.
How did this happen? I don't know. You're seeing this too, right?
What the hell?
Oh my god.
What is happening? That's a real horse.
Bulgaria. What is happening? I know we did. Did we find the most fun mom
Can you imagine some rappers integrating that into their dance?
in Bulgaria?
Call me.
You are the life of the party.
Yeah, I'm always like that.
Just like that, she vanishes. She just leaves. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, see, the life of the party comes and goes. I don't know. That's not usually the best mother material.
Let's go check into our hotel. Oh, checkbooks. Let's go.
After a lovely dinner, however, it was time for us to part ways.
Any chance you guys want to do one last coin flip or no?
I vote for it.
Take it or leave it.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Let's do a coin flip tomorrow.
Yes, but it starts to make sense why we could have like the most expensive place, because your place is, first of all, extremely cheap.
This is so annoying. Read us one of the reviews. Read us one of the reviews.
Yes, there are a lot of mentions of cockroaches in the reviews.
Dude, no.
The rooms are outrageously filthy. The toilet was filthy from probably the people who were there before. The walls and couch next to the bed constantly filled with cockroaches.
Dude, this...
We're not gonna sleep.
But on a serious note.
On a serious note, why are we doing this?
Isn't just exploring Bulgaria enough? Holy sh**. None of this looks good.
I think it's that green one over there. And it's like
This is like the fat boy mentality of like, oh, dude, you're gonna go and sleep with cockroaches, and we're going to like the great hotel. Okay, so anyway, we'll go quickly there. Okay.
Oh my god.
There, okay, hold on.
we're sleeping in this little bed together.
Yeah, and this is not a comfortable bed. Oh my dude. Oh my gosh. I'm not showering here. I just traveled 15 hours. I would like to
Yeah,
shower.
I'd like all of my former colleagues at the IMF and World Bank to see how I've been living in Washington, because I represent white privilege, and so apparently it's not discrimination when you fire and you discriminate against white Americans. I mean, and they get away with it because I can't find a freaking lawyer in Washington to defend me. I mean, it's one thing that my family and friends have hung me out to dry, like they did This happened to Alan Dershowitz' wife, or his first wife, Bobby Kennedy's second wife, and they committed suicide. I mean, that's the objective here. But I'm like, yeah, give it up, you guys, because it's not happening. As much as you tell me to go and jump off a bridge. But so I'm like, you guys want to play hardball with me? This is U.S. territory. We're under U.S. federal law. I keep on telling these guys, we're under U.S. federal law, and I've been building cases against you under RICO, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, and Alien Enemy Act. And all of this stuff coming out with how the Israelis own Congress. Not sitting too well. So here.
Dude, we're above a kebab shop.
Hello.
Have a nice day. Don't keep us up at night.
Oh my god. Let's go. This is just for one of us. Woo! Wow. I feel like a king. Wow, look at this bathroom.
Holy moly.
Whoa.
Oh, dude. My
Is that a cockroach?
That's a cockroach. I'm no scientist, but cockroaches usually don't travel alone. Oh my god.
Oh, the cheapest.
God!
A second cockroach.
On the bed, on the wall. Oh God, dude! Someone's been banging this thing to kill the cockroaches. Oh, look at that.
Oh my god. Those are a few dead cockroaches.
You know, I have this really big fear of bugs entering my ear. I'm gonna have to sleep like.
At least they don't have any rats. I got them here.
What is that? That's just blood all over this. Oh my God. Oh God.
I think there's bed bugs.
Really?
I'm just seeing a lot of black dots.
Look at how cracked these walls are. There's
Well,
mold
that
everywhere.
Because
Come on,
it's
how am I
hard
gonna
to
sleep?
get on you.
What the hell is this, dude?
The rinse off.
The water just goes everywhere? Oh, people can fully see me. Hello!
Yeah.
Look really sad music over this.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, voila.
Morning, but I didn't really sleep.
Okay, so
I swear, one of the best sleeps in my night. And I'm not saying this to provocate Tommy or Eric, but I slept so good.
Oh man, I'm really gonna miss this place.
Dude, dead cockroach. Yeah, one last cockroach. Goodbye.
That's nice. Alright,
Bye.
let's go.
Oh, rise and shine! I feel so good!
After a perfect night's rest for all of us, we had a packed day ahead. Our first stop was to reconnect with our friend Gergana, who invited us to come watch her perform with her church choir at the Cathedral of St. Alexander Nevsky.
We wish you the best of luck, and we'll come and support you now. So see you there in a couple of minutes. Okay, we have arrived at the church. We're
now
in for some
what I
singing.
do like about Yes Theory, the trips that they do and what they visit, is it is, very, okay, we're going to go and meet people, and we're going to go and talk to the locals, and we're going to go and find out, it's very unstructured and off the cuff. And sometimes I'm like, ooh, this is why it's men and not women going into these situations, because sometimes it really wouldn't be safe. I mean, it's not as safe for them, but, for women, it just opens up some other difficulties. I mean, this is a reality of women throughout history. You're never going to get over it, ladies. So, it just is a reality. This is why we want safe streets, and we don't want our country filled with pedophiles and run by pedophiles. So anyway, that I do like, and we'll be seeing that with these guys, and they're visiting around the world, and in examining how the socioeconomic development that the international development community has been promoting for the past 40, 50 years is doing. A little report card, if you will.
This is incredible. They're up there.
Road trip.
After a majestic morning, we hopped in the car for a 3-hour road trip from Sofia to Kazanlak, where the famous annual Rose Festival will be taking place. An event that took over the whole city with decorations,
I
cultural...
would have liked to have seen more of the cathedral. I mean, this is one of the things that's just gorgeous throughout Europe. And I'll give the Catholic Church that. They have beautiful cathedrals.
Dancing, and a huge parade. For the sake of team morale, however, we decided to delay today's coin flip to later in the day to not stir up any more drama.
Okie dokie. This is where you guys are staying tonight.
Damn.
However, when we arrived, something felt a little off.
I think we missed it. I think we missed the entire festival.
Oh, why didn't they say what time it would start?
It's at 2:30, which is right now for the parade, but I guess the parade was like 2 hours ago. Are you okay? This is like why we came to Bulgaria, right?
Yep.
What does it look like? Can you show me a photo? I want to look it up right now.
Yeah, we can play it now. It looks like kind of like this.
That's what it looks like?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That would have been cool to see because it was right here. So we could have seen it if we were here like 2 hours ago.
But in life... As we prepared for our second coin toss to decide the fate of our accommodations that evening, our new Bulgarian mom, Gergana, who still had no idea about our YouTube channel, had made the 3-hour drive to join us. On the second day of our adventure, was going to be the official coin flipper and join the winning team in their luxurious 5-star hotel.
Hello! Good to see you. Good to see you. In every place that we're going, we're flipping a coin, and we've booked the fanciest, most expensive place and the cheapest place. So what we need you to do is to flip the coin. Yes, you are the coin flipper to make this road trip together worth it.
It's okay in Bulgaria, easy.
Easy?
Stura.
We chose easy because it's
So,
gonna be
wait,
Yeah,
easy.
easy.
No, wait, no, she's picking heads for you.
Yeah, that's
So the 20.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah,
Okay.
easy.
Because it's easy.
Easy, easy.
Falling on the ground?
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about this. This is so much. I feel sorry for you
It's
now.
happening. Too easy, too easy.
Well, enjoy the pool or whatever you have. I'm assuming it's really nice.
Fingers crossed. Pray can pray too that this will not be as bad as they had it yesterday.
What is ours?
The name is the Hostel Colors. I don't recommend. The bathroom and toilet are shared. The couch creaked terribly. Noisy neighbors. It does not match the pricing quality.
I think we were
Small
laughing
places.
a little too much. I think people are probably enjoying seeing us suffer now. I think we were a little too arrogant.
We need to find at least 10 good things about this place.
It's a shared bathroom and toilet, so you get to meet strangers.
I love that. 2 things. It's colorful on the outside because that makes you happy. It says call the person 20 minutes before you arrive.
Wow.
Damn, dude.
All right.
La-di-da, baby.
Wow, automatic.
La di da. Wow, this place is huge.
This is crazy. You smell that? Not mold. Smells like victory.
Yeah, see, I mean, like this modern, it's like modern Soviet stuff is not, like, this is not my style. Let's just...
Place tonight.
When you will come.
We are here now, but no stress. I don't know. 5 minutes, yeah. Perfect. See you soon. Nice place, yeah. See you soon, yeah. Bye bye.
One day you're up and one day you're down.
Like how many, old abandoned, you see this, oh God, these guys also, there's several of them. They'll go to abandoned cities throughout Europe, villages throughout Europe. You can turn those into, great lodges for people to stay at.
Yep.
Oh my god. Air conditioned. Towels. No. We're gonna watch some good stuff in here, bro.
We've got 3 pools.
Do you see all the jacuzzis over there? Is that tennis courts? Oh. You guys have wine?
Yes.
Gosh.
Winners.
Wow.
Love it.
Oh, hi. How are you? Nice to meet you. Mitko, that's a cool name. I think you feel good. You think we'll like it? Awesome. Give us the grand tour. Okay.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. It's a lot of colors. That's the name.
Yeah. The name goes. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll share with one man from this group.
Okay, we heard that. That's great. We love you.
Perfect. So is there a shower too? Yeah, behind the door. Ah, okay. Perfect. To be honest, this looks actually pretty alright. We had the bad draw on the right day.
Welcome to our Colors Hostel room tour. This is my bed. This is Thomas's bed. This is our colorful shared couch. And this is an extra colorful...
He's right. I mean, it's clean.
And wait for the best part. Our own private balcony. We won the lottery. We won the freaking lottery 2 times.
Don't put the garbage can on your face.
But it's so clean here, so it doesn't. Not like Carnival's hostel hotel.
Why do you think you were able to stay like young in spirit, or like still have this kind of energy?
Because I'm alien. I'm from Andromeda. I don't know, because I see a lot of things in my life, so when you see a lot and I have very tough times, and when you see all that, you are more able to move fast. Just tell me, here, okay, here. There, okay, there. You know, one of my friends told me, I don't know, you're with 5 guys. What they will do to me? You know, the people are always, they think that's something bad. I always think that it will be something fun, something good.
I say, let's go explore.
Let's do it.
Yeah, as I say, not exactly the best mom role model, and I'm sure she's had a colorful life, but this whole colorful life and life of, you know, James Bond drama, the Casablanca with oh, what's his name, Humphrey Bogart. I mean, it's not sustainable. What do you want me to say?
And so, at 10:30 p.m. at night, for better or for worse, in the darkness of the countryside of Bulgaria, Stefan and I were set on having a good time, despite having the bad flip.
Thomas, where do you think is the best party? Is it like this way, this way, this way, or?
I think there's something over here. I'm not sure. Here's the deal, guys. 40% of the people that watch our Yes Theory videos now watch them on TV, which means nobody leaves a comment, and a lot fewer people hit like. So if you could spare a minute of your time and leave a comment and leave a like, it'd be much appreciated. Oh God, dude, it's like a whole fair. How did we walk down that empty road and end up here? Oh, should we do a roller coaster?
Welcome to Bulgaria.
Hi, what's up?
Thank you so much.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Where are we? Groove there, because you have a lot of meat here.
We can trust that roller coaster.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. You guys want to go together or something? Is it safe?
Find these fairs and stuff like that in Spain as well, in villages. They would have the music blaring. I mean, blasting all over. The Latinos, they love to put on their music super.
In theory, it's look at that one, look at that one.
Holy shit! Holy
Amazing. Bulgaria. Thank you. Wow, that was fun, guys.
You sleep tight there on the orange bed, okay? This is the special one. It's gonna be good, you're gonna enjoy it.
This is like, I mean, okay.
You are going to pass on top of it.
We? No, I think we're just watching.
You're gonna watch it, and then she's gonna make you walk on top of it. It's for good health. Here.
What? You didn't tell me that. But I swear I didn't know. I thought it was only watching. Who do we have here? Have you just gotten a massage?
Yes, I
You look relaxed.
Hello. Somehow I think we still got less sleep than you guys.
Yeah, we got like 8 hours.
Nice. We got like 5, 4. 4. Yeah, 4.
How did that happen?
Oh, I don't know.
We go for a Bloody Mary, or what we gonna do?
Yeah. we went on a roller coaster last night.
Wow.
How was it to spend time with these wonderful people?
It's
great.
But I assume like they picked up her hotel bill for a room. As I said, I don't want to be in this.
How many stars? Out of 5 stars. This
5
one.
stars only? No, like 10 stars.
Yeah.
10 stars and more.
Have you always had this much energy your whole life? Wow.
So everybody, oh, you're crazy. Oh.
You have free spirit, and we love it.
Yeah.
So nice to get to know you. Have a good ride home. Hopefully we'll see you next time when we're in Bulgaria.
Yeah, whatever. In the whole world.
Yes. Georgieva, you keep on living your free life.
I will do. I have no other choice.
I mean, she drives around in a Mercedes. She's an opera singer. Free life, well, I don't know. I mean, as I say, It would be interesting what, because they say that she's a mom. I'm like, you guys, it's all in the branding. They never look about like what actually is the reality behind what they're labeling these things. This is one of the things, you know, we're seeing that like with Erica Kirk, and I think some of the, how shall I say it, the animosity towards Erica Kirk. And I mean, I don't know if she was involved in the planning of Charlie Kirk's assassination, but it just, you know, even Ethel Kennedy and Jackie Kennedy showed true grief. I mean, it just that lack of how she is, you know, right afterwards with at the chair and things like that. It just, let's just say it has gone it has not gone unnoticed. But in this whole paradigm, I mean, you know, the World Bank and the IMF, that, you know, don't look at any unpleasantness, don't look at any unpleasantness. I mean, these are the people who are supposed to be producing the solutions, the socioeconomic solutions for the world and leading the world and managing the world, but they're doing a shitty job. So anyway.
Okay, we continue on our journey.
We have a new surprise coming up, and it's going to be the most intense and one of the most famous traditions that's going to happen now in Bulgaria. Well, it has nothing to do with fire or so don't think about fire or like burning and so don't think about...
Like I'll be burning?
Off we go.
As the trip continued, despite our silly and various experiences, we were starting to get a grip for the country. It's clearly a place that hasn't had the easiest of times, but those who have stayed have sought ways to enjoy their lives despite the hardships. It's also a country in such a desirable location with incredible history and astonishing nature. It also seems that in the last couple of years, there is some sense of hope for the future, which is starting to grow, and we're hearing that some who went abroad are moving back. Whether that will outpace how fast people seem to be leaving
But
is...
I mean, it's a country, it shouldn't be having all of these hardships with all of the resources that it has. You know, it's just, obviously, everybody's been mismanaging them for a long time. And this is precisely what the World Bank and IMF, they have just been following the lead of the aristocracy of Europe that led to World War I and World War II. And that's why we're heading down the same path.
Impossible to tell at this point, but from a traveler's perspective, Bulgaria has been an incredible place to get to explore.
There's so many people. It smells amazing.
It's like a village party. This is cool.
Eric and Tommy, do you know what we're actually doing?
No. This is a very old tradition in Bulgaria where they walk barefoot on burning coal. And apparently there's a legend story here that the Ottoman Empire, they came to the town and there was a woman who said, if I manage to walk on the burning coal without getting burned, then you will let my village and myself be alone.
And they did?
She did. She walked. She didn't burn herself. The Ottoman man, he left her and the village alone.
Wow.
They've had lots of wars going on for a long time.
That coal is looking hot.
Oh, he's doing it.
Whoa! Wow. They look like they're in like a trance or something.
Yeah, see, this
It's
is
pretty
something
amazing
that
that ancient traditions can survive through centuries and that we can come and appreciate them, celebrate it in their own modern way.
Wow, have you done this before?
No, for first time.
Could we try it?
Yes, you can do it.
I'll be right here. This? I can't come through this.
Look, come on, that woman is doing it very easily. You can do it.
Sorry, what's that? Oh, I gotta be...
What time you said, John?
I'm gonna do it.
You're doing it as well?
Why not?
When in Bulgaria, am I right?
You're going?
I will try.
We'll try. Okay, well, if he's going and he's finding out...
Oh my gosh. What the? Wow, it's hot. I'm just standing here and it's hot.
You go and tell us how it is.
Okay. Okay, but I did it.
2 times, my brother. We're supposed to be in a deep spiritual state to overcome the pain of the fire. We're not really in that state right now. I follow my mentor. That burn. 1, 2, 3. Oh my god! Oh my god! That one got me! Ow! Tommy hasn't been yet.
This is the aftermath.
Ow! Don't do that at home, guys.
It's bad. Anything for yes theory, baby. Anything for yes theory.
Oh, and you're probably wondering what happened on the final coin flip.
No.
Well, our Yes Theory producer Melly, who had chosen all the hotels to keep them a surprise for us, had a plot twist for the finale.
The time has come, guys. Final coin flip.
I got a message sent to me. Yo, chicos, for the final, we're gonna raise the stakes even more. From now on, you are all on the same side. If you win, a 5-star hotel is waiting by the beach. If you lose, you will go and buy a tent, and you all tent outside.
It's way too hot to sleep in a tent.
Sleep in 2 days.
You will go and...
Okay, so this one has religious figure that I'm not sure who it is, and then there's a 1.
Tommy, you're feeling it.
Are you all putting it the faith in me?
Yeah.
I say number 1.
Number 1 again? 1.
I can finally sleep.
From fascinating traditions to unique characters, we feel we got a lot out of a fairly short trip in Bulgaria. It feels like a door of curiosity is opened to come back and explore this country further. These Eastern European countries who have had to transition out of communism certainly all seem to have struggled to find their footing. But the overall atmosphere was more hopeful than the statistic that drew us here in the first place may make it seem. For a country to have a fun road trip with friends in, however, on our end it's a 10 out of 10. But maybe don't stay in this cockroach hotel. Okay, I'll see you next week.
Or maybe don't have cockroach hotels. So yeah, that is where the managing director of the IMF is from. And I'll get into it. Oops, another time. The president of the World Bank. My focus, since I was at the IMF for 7 years, there's my lawsuits against them. That's about the management. I mean, you know, it's my home territory, and I got a lot of beefs. So in terms of, let's just say, critiquing them, to put it politely, it'll be mainly focused on that. I will look at the president because there is David Malpass. He was Bear Stearns, the chief economist when the 2008 collapse came. Definitely, he's still in Washington. He stayed here, and part of the Trump, whatever is going on there. And I work downstairs from the Federal Reserve in the same office. And this gets me where we're going to look at donuts. Because, okay, I told you how I had worked at the IMF Family Association. And Anne Beatrix Keller was just as much of a backstabbing bitch as all of the other expat wives clubs I had encountered, and why I came up with the idea for global expats in 2006. This was after my banker ex-husband, well, then husband, had crashed and burned as the director of the Treasury Department of one of the largest banks in Colombia, Banco Ganadero. He was an employee of the Spanish multinational BBVA. And in the 1990s, the two multinational Spanish banks, BBVA and Santander, they infiltrated the South American financial markets and brought up a whole bunch of banks. And this was, you know, there was a push for financial inclusion and then into the global economy. This is what they've been doing every place. And it's had a backlash. This is why you have rising nationalism, the flight of resources, of people and financial resources from certain areas, and the concentration of wealth into, for example, jet setting Marbella, the Spanish coast, and also in the French Riviera. That's been since the 50s, 60s, 70s. And the Russian mob. I mean, the Russian mob took over Marbella during the time of Franco. So yeah, I mean, who was I listening to earlier? And they were saying that these people, they can't deal with reality. Oh, this was Baron Coleman. He made some really good points. I'll be including that as well in the things that he was talking about today. This is disassociative, what was it? What was he saying? Well, there's like this disconnect. They don't understand reality. I mean, this is what we saw with Erica Kirk. And you're seeing with Trump. That they're totally disconnected from what's going on in the real world, and just live in any time you confront them with facts or evidence, they just double down and say, I refuse to look at that. I refuse to acknowledge, any kind of logic or common sense. And it is really a wonderland of Alice. I've been telling 20 years, I've been telling everybody. Okay, so what we're going to look at now is the an IMF economist who explains economies with donuts, using donuts as an example.
Have you ever wondered how something as simple as buying a donut can reveal the intricate workings of our economy? What if I told you that this seemingly straightforward transaction reveals the intricate dance of economic forces?
Okay, so you saw he's the director of stats. Yeah, I remember when I was in at GW, and this was Stat 101 course. First off, I was like, okay, I'm sorry, but you really have to hire, if you're going to hire foreign people, this was an Indian guy, if you're going to hire foreign people, they have to be speaking English so that we can understand. I'm sorry, this is an English-speaking country. Now, when I went to France and I went to Spain and I go to another country, I'm going to make the effort to speak and learn that language. But I am sorry, when you are paying this kind of money for a university course, you better be able to understand the teacher. Okay, so second thing was, there's no way I'm going to be a statistician. That is the same thing when I took Accounting 101. And I had the other observation, stats and accounting. Oh my God, you guys can juggle these numbers to make them say anything you want. So always be careful when statisticians and accountants start their juggling acts. Be careful.
Welcome to The Economy. How do you measure that? The show where we explore how statisticians capture the full complexity of the economy, one transaction at a time. Today's episode, my favorite, donuts. How do you measure that? So you walk into a bakery, you hand over a few dollars, you walk out with a fresh warm donut. Simple, right? Well, not exactly, because when it comes to measuring the economy, that donut is more than a sugary treat. It's actually a service. So to help us explore this delicious example, I'm joined by Jennifer Rybarski from the IMF Statistics Department and an expert in national accounts. I, on the other hand, an expert in donuts. So Jennifer, let's start with the basic question. Why is this a service? I'm holding it. It seems like a good to me.
Well, it depends on where and how it's consumed, Jim. So when you walk into that bakery, you're not only just buying that donut, you're buying a service. And why? It's because the flour, the labor that goes into that making that donut should be accounted for. That's intermediate inputs. What you're buying is actually the experience of having somebody cook a freshly baked donut for you.
So when I go to the bakery and I buy this donut, as a national accountant, you don't put this donut in the donut industry, you put this in a service industry. Is that how it works?
Actually, the donut is not directly counted because it's an input into that service. So it's indirectly accounted for.
Okay, so this is the donut I bought at the bakery. Now, I have with me another donut, a donut that I made at home. You can see it's a little fancier than this donut. It's got some nice sprinkles on it, some glaze on the top. So what about this donut? Does this count it as GDP, some sort of gym service industry?
Sorry, Jim. While that might have even more value to you than the plain donut, that's not counted in GDP. That's because in national accounts, we want to measure market transactions. So what we call when you bake something at home, it's called non-market household production of services and is not included in GDP.
Okay, so two donuts, one kind of plain, included in GDP, one pretty fancy,
yeah,
probably better, not included in GDP.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So these donuts, I mean, these aren't the only food that I buy, the only food that I eat. I try and eat some other non-donut type foods. So is donuts the only type of food this applies to, or is it other types of transactions where we get this funny, it's a good, but we count it as a service type situation?
Well, actually, it applies to any restaurant that you go into, whether it's a fine dining establishment or a burger shop. What you're really buying is that experience of having somebody prepare the meal for you, but also the ambience of the restaurant. That's all included in the value of the service.
Okay, so then when someone next time says to me, well, it's just a donut, I'm going to say to them, no, it's not a donut. That's a service, and that's included in GDP.
That's right.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, for helping us. You certainly can. Which donut would you prefer?
I want the homemade one. You said it's better.
Okay, take the homemade one.
It won't count as production in GDP.
Wow,
Sorry.
What if I sell it to you, Jennifer? If I sell it to you?
Then it would.
Then it's part of GDP. Okay. Well, I'm not going to sell it to you because you've been such a gracious guest. So the donut is yours.
Yeah.
I'll take the
sprinkles.
The market one, and we'll cheers. So that's it for the episode of The Economy. How do you measure that? If you enjoyed what you heard, like, subscribe, and share. And remember, behind every transaction, including donuts, there's a statistician like Jennifer trying to figure out how to measure it. Thank you.
Trying to figure out how to measure it so then they can tax it and put it into the government coffers so the government can use it to go and produce unending wars. See how the system works? So this is, I often quote this article, and we're going to read through it, How Homemakers Help the Economy. And then maybe you'll see what the whole donut thing was about. Some say America's economy would grow by billions of dollars if moms would work outside the home. They're measuring wrong. Stay-at-home moms have economists worried. According to government calculations, women make up 51% of American population, but they only constitute 46% of its workforce. The main reason for the discrepancy is that there are over 10 million stay-at-home mothers in the country compared to 2 million in stay-at-home fathers. If women participated in the official workforce at the same rate as men, the national gross domestic product would be 5% bigger than it is today. That's a difference of $900 billion in goods and services. At least that is the case made by Federal Reserve Chairman Janet Yellen. Very interesting book. Everybody should read, by Janet Yellen's husband, Akerlof, Fishing for Fools. He did a book signing. He was at the IMF when he wrote that, but he did a book signing at the IMF when he published the book. Oh, it was disgusting. The only thing anybody cared about was going and getting a signature on the book from him. So, yeah. So, in May, during a speech at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, Yellen said that America is falling behind the advanced economies of Europe, partially due to America's low rate of female labor force participation. She cited a 2012 study by the global strategy consulting firm Strategy Ann, which makes a compelling case that GDP would indeed rise 5% if female employment were boosted to male levels. But this study makes no attempt to measure the economic value of the work already being done by the women Yellen wants to pull into the official workforce. The equations that economists use to calculate GDP exclude the work that mothers do at home as non-market labor. We saw with the donut. Late economist Paul Samuelson joked that GDP falls when a man marries his housekeeper, since she is now supported by her husband rather than by an employer recognized by the Internal Revenue Service. Her official contribution to the economy is now erased, even if she continues to do the same work. Of course, homemaking is much more involved and sophisticated art than just housekeeping. Thank you for that, at least. This makes it difficult to estimate its economic value. One study conducted by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis suggests that GDP would be 26% higher if it accounted for the housework and childcare in private households. The American Time Use Survey estimates that the average stay-at-home mother performs 18 hours of child care and 30 hours of housework each week. In reality, the stay-at-home mother is already a full-time professional in a $4.7 trillion industry. But government statisticians ignore this sector of the economy. Perhaps we should call it non-market household production. It makes it sound more official. Now, the problem is that it's, in terms of women's rights, when you get to divorce courts and even like societal norms towards women's rights within the home and marriage, her access to, I constantly, he earned the money, therefore she's not, even if it's, even if it's separation of property, what's accumulated during the marriage that still is together. I mean, it depends on the regime, but so anyway, comment, and I'm also like, well, wait a second, if she has no recognition of the work and her contributions to the home, even if it's just producing kids, which you have to pay a surrogate thousands of dollars to do, you're rendering her a slave. So unless there's some sort of recognition, and this can be recognition just of when they're married, for example, access to financial records when her husband doesn't want to hand them over. I still, to this day, and I am going to see all of the financials during my marriage. This has become, issues of principle and also setting standards in the courts. All the crap that they play. I mean, I'm not going to go into all of the different issues, but a lot of the problems were just the access to financials. Now, of course, anytime I bring that up, oh, you're just some gold digger. I mean, this is from the other activists. From the beginning, I was labeled mole for the men, a spy for the men, because I went to actually talk to the father rights groups. And luckily, I fell upon that day at the demonstration the father rights group instead of the pedophile rights groups, because they were just around, they were at the other side of Capitol Hill demonstrating. It was 2009. All of the IMF and World Bank, revolving door of people who come and gone and been cashing in with six-figure salaries, and their kids going to our expensive prep schools and Ivy League colleges, and 75% of foreigners who earn PhDs in the United States stay here. They don't go back to their home countries. It's called the brain drain. So everything's been mismanaged all over the place. According to a report by women contributed 6.9 trillion to official U.S. GDP in 2014 compared to 10.3 trillion from the men. The implication was that women account for 40% of the country's productivity, but women also do about 2/3 of the non-market household production in America. So their real contribution to the labor market is closer to 9.7 trillion compared to 11 trillion contributed by men. The whole thing is what the objective, the whole GDP stuff is just making into paid, remunerated work that can then be taxed. So the problem with the approach that they're using here is, okay, well, let's give it a GDP. Even if these people are not actually exchanging money, and it's a barter system. So, that this is not a very productive approach to look at the issues and the problems, but it does show you that women who work in the home and in the family are contributing to the economy. Just because you're not contributing to a GDP, I mean, black markets, they're not contributing to an official GDP, but that's economic activity. Even this data represents an incomplete picture. A 2004 study in the American Economic Review found that the motivation and support a wife provides to her husband and children allows him to be more fully committed to his job, boosting his income by approximately 27%. Since half the men in America are married, about 1 trillion of their combined salaries could be attributable to the support they received from their wives. But the societal benefits of committed mothers become even more obvious when you factor in their effect on their children. Yes, well, all of these having it all feminist and Valley of the Doll, Stepford Wives, anti-feminists have not been doing a good job in raising children, and they have been. This country has raised several generations of entitled, narcissistic, and even psychopathic spoiled brats. That's also why, we need another war because we need to send them off to toughen them up. Yeah, like we could find another way. Harvard School of Public Health researcher Jody Hyman found that for every hour a child is left unsupervised between 6 and 9, he is 16% more likely to score in the bottom quarter of a standardized math test. Other studies show that unsupervised children are more likely to use drugs or alcohol, have sex, and commit crimes. Yeah. Despite this, according to an Urban Institute survey, 1 in 5 preteens aged 6 to 12 are regularly left at home after school while both of their parents are at work. Although the negative economic impact of uncared for children may not be immediate, it will definitely reduce the official and non-official productivity of the next generation. And that is what's going on in the States. I mean, we'll see with the donuts there, because I sell donuts at the moment. And the little snot-nosed brat they got working with me, I mean, I am tired of these snot-nosed brats. Really gotta go. And they come in all shapes, forms, socioeconomic level, nationalities, the whole kit and caboodle. Washington is an international city full of snot-nosed brats. God created the family to excel by taking advantage of specialization of labor between husband and wife. Any honest economist will tell you this model leads to greater productivity. Those who ignore the contributions homemakers provide to the economy and try to guilt them into getting jobs in cubicles are not trying to grow America's economy. They are trying to revolutionize America's culture to its great detriment. A strong family built on the biblical model, with a faithfully married, family-focused father and a mother intent on fulfilling their respective roles, is an ideal that should be valued by any clear-thinking person, and certainly by any clear-thinking economist. Voila. And I agree. Now, the thing is, this whole biblical model, well, the TPUSA, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the response of Erica Kirk, the whole investigation into what's going on there, well, that's kind of shown that this whole evangelical Christian Bible stuff is rather hypocritical. I like there's this one podcaster. He is a conservative Christian, but he's one with sanity, and he says we should strive to be a Christian nation instead of a nation of Christians. I think that says it all. Okay, so real quick, I will look at this complaint to the ethics committee. So after I got fired for the second time from the IMF, so the first was the IMF Family Association. In fact, people are like, what, fired a second time? Because usually you're ousted once and you're gone. But see, the thing is my case slipped under the radar because IMF Family Association is technically not part of the IMF, even though they're housed there, they're financed by them. They are a separate non-profit structure for a variety of reasons. So that, as I say, it slipped under the radar because, like with the IMF Family Association, I was a temp, and so I was working for a temp agency. Then I came in again with another temp agency. I mean, it was registered with several temp agencies. I wasn't trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. It was just another temp agency. And they, contacted me and they said, you want a contract because it would, for 1 year, it was often, I mean, it's not fun to live like that. So it was often because, I mean, they had stripped me of everything, leaving me in Spain. I got here in the United States. I had been canceled by my family and friends. I no longer had $1 million mansion, giving fabulous parties for everybody to come over. So I'm off the invite list or even callbacks from telephone calls. So anyway, I need to get the roof over my head, but it would be maybe a month, maybe a week, temp contracts within, different departments throughout the IMF. I mean, that was interesting because it did give me a tour. One of the most interesting positions I had was at Financial Integrity Group, which is part of legal. And one of the things that they wanted me to do was, it was always, well, here we've had these files over there that are collecting dust that need to be fixed. Everything that the secretaries, like these things that had been, were on the list of things to do, but nobody wanted to do. So when I'd come in, they'd be like, here, you're the temp, you do this. So I'm like, that's fine, that's fine. This is, I'm learning a lot about the IMF this way. So the head of the Financial Integrity Group, he wasn't even there, he was traveling, but he had boxes of personal papers. I mean, not personal of his, but it wasn't, just different things that were of interest that he had collected, and he had in these boxes that needed to be organized. And so they gave me that task to do. And so I said, okay, fine, give it to me. And so it was interesting just to see the papers he collected, his comments and things like that. I always refer to him as the most interesting man I never met at the IMF. And really, quite frankly, everybody, these people, I love it. Michael Lewis, the author of The Big Short, in his interview with Christine Lagarde, one-on-one 2016, he points out that, he says it more delicately, but, you guys only take brown nosers around here. Because he said it was the IMF, the first interview he said after graduating from London School of Economics was with the IMF, and he said it took the guy interviewing him about 5 minutes, both of them about 5 minutes, to know that Michael Lewis did not belong at the IMF. And both of these organizations in the world, the UN is the same. You are, it's the worst of what American and European educational systems have produced. These people who all that anybody cares about is testing. I mean, my older sister even said, it's just figuring out how they want you to respond on the test. And I agree. So it's all about getting straight A's, figuring out how they want you to respond, what you are supposed to do, what is expected of you. It's not free thought. It's not developing your intelligence or anything. It's just turning everybody into yes people and brown nosers. And history has shown that's a recipe for disaster. So anyway, there's the index. So this was given to the ethics committee. I met with the ethics advisor, and she told me this was an African American. There were 3 of them there. Unfortunately, the advisor, she passed away. And then the other 2, 30-something kids. I was like, I'm watching these kids, and their head is just bobbing up and down in agreement. They don't say a word the entire time. I'm sitting there in the interview, and I'm going, my God, there's got to be some strings hanging from these kids. That's how bad of puppets they were. I was like, these 2 are just absolute puppets. Absolute puppets. I was like, there gotta be some strings there someplace. I mean, I knew what I was walking into, but I had to go through the procedure. It's just like every place else. If I'm going to prove, if I'm going to whistleblow on them, I got to get the goods on them, and that in order to do that, I have to play by their games, by their rules. As my sister said, you got to figure out what they want you to say, what you want me to do, and what I'm demonstrating is that's what I'm doing. But it's not working. Your system is broken. It doesn't work. I'm not the crazy one. Y'all are the crazy people for thinking that this shit is gonna work. Okay. So anyway, here it is. I'm contacting you regarding bullying in the Institute for Capacity Development. My reporting of said bullying, as well as the failure of ICD management to acknowledge or investigate my complaint. Please find below a copy of the letter I sent to the director of ICD, Sharmini Curry. So this, this is incredible. So Sharmini Curry is your typical, I mean, she was the one economist, he said, she's the worst economist I've ever, worst manager I've ever seen. And she was, I mean, it was total laissez-faire. This little prima donna, tiny little woman from Sri Lanka, knew how to work the system. I mean, boy, does this lady know how to work the system. So she was at Harvard, became a Larry Summers protege. Now, Larry Summers' name keeps on coming up all over the place. So this is like Larry Summers' honeypot at Harvard. I mean, I don't know if she ever slept with the guy, but I'm not saying it that way. But these groupies, these foreign women who have no, patriotism or loyalty to the United States, they're just here to cash in. They come in, there's the Fulbright scholarship, affirmative action since the 60s. We'll see that with the blog that I did about Ingrid Betancourt and her father, Gabriel Betancourt, because he was involved in all of that affirmative action. That's the Kennedy administration. So she's the typical product of that, gets into Harvard. I mean, this is the thing, okay, they're not complete idiots. They intellectually, they have enough of intelligence, as I say, to be able to understand enough of the subject matter to be able to respond on the tests, but nobody understands how anything relates to real life situations. There's a total disconnect. And these are the leaders of the world. And they're just like, oh, look at me. I'm a Sri Lankan woman who's grappled up the ladder of success, having it all. Well, we'll see with her kids, this is another thing. Excuse me, ma'am. Yeah, we don't want any of this shit. Go home with your kids. And this is going to be the problem by denying me my rights. And as a dual national, I keep on telling all of the international people, you want to play hardball with me? My kids have 3 nationalities, and you're saying that they're stateless, rightless people, and we have no rights because I represent white privilege and they represent European dominance, whatever you want to, nobody will actually engage in these things. So it's like, okay, well, what's your thing? Because the ethics committee, the ethics advisor, she says, well, this is illegal but not immoral. What? Crazy people. The mediator, when I met with the mediator, she's with family courts. And the mediators are one of the big problems within the family courts in completely taking away the rights of litigants. And so I was prepared when I met with her and had read her book and everything. And she told me that Christine Lagarde was never going to find out about all of this shit. And I was like, oh, yes, she is. When she does, she's going to be pissed as shit. Because, see, it's not just the white American that they're stabbing in the back. These ladies royally have stabbed Christine Lagarde in the back. Christine Lagarde is over at the European Central Bank. And this is all of these Middle Eastern hornet nest women. This is Sharmini Kalpana Kochar. She's over now at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. There's Nuchi Corrie. She was the president of the Women's National Democrats Club. I don't think she's still the president. I think she stepped down and I forget who's there now. But all of these women, I mean, I'm like, I know all of the white women, you know, the Stu Bimbo, the Astors, the Vanderbilts, the DuPonts, all of these families have been doing this for generations. I know you're just coming in and joining the club. Yeah, no, I'll see you in court along with them. I mean, I don't know why all of these people have not understood that. It's like, what, just because you're a foreigner, I'm gonna like give you a free pass? This is how like crazy these people are. So, you know, I sent, trying to be polite, you know, I would like to thank you, for the opportunity to work in the department, but I gotta tell you, the your office manager, Adrienne Thapa, she's picked a fight. So I mean, it's a long story. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. It's just go through, read through it. The links are there. But so first off, you know, I'm just trying to clean up the courts, and I'm trying to get assistance from the women's rights, supposed women's rights, the domestic violence arena, the human rights arena, because I've been developing my own case. I prepared for the international courts, my case against the Spanish government and the Spanish family courts, you know, and trying to challenge this under international human rights conventions. I mean, you would think the IMF and World Bank would be interested in my work, but oh no. I mean, my God, if I'm a threat. As much a threat to Nancy Pelosi and AOC and a bunch of other wackos up on Capitol Hill. So this is where we'll get into the donuts, the selling of donuts. So yeah, I'm not trying to get back and relaunch my career as an economist. I was top in my class in international econ. I got a 98 in a class that even the econ majors failed at least once. You know, like I was brilliant when it came to algebra and geometry, and I mean, yeah, like Euclid, it fascinates me. But you know, I never, like, not for a moment was I like, oh, maybe I can, you know, get back in the game and become an economist. That was not anywhere on the agenda or any of that. What I was interested in was the mismanagement going on within the organization from the, you know, the administrative function. Because when I had worked up on Capitol Hill as a student at GW, the only person who really impressed me was the executive assistant to the senator, and she ran a ship-shape organization. I mean, like the mistake that the Germans made was that they kept excellent records. Well, Patsy Geyer was running neck and neck with the Germans in efficiency in keeping records, and and this is what a government agency should be doing. Your records should be impeccable, and the people should be able to retrieve them, everything above board, and complete transparency and diligence. If you want to work on good governance, you got to start there, because these secretaries are pulling all sorts of shit. So that was mainly my interest there. The Economist. I'm like, I was like, when I came back to the DC in 2009, I'm gonna find some lawyers to help me, and we're gonna clean this shit up, because this is out of control. I mean, I was horrified. I'd never been in a courtroom in my life, and when I got in, I was like, what the frick do you people think you're doing? You call yourself a democracy? Oh, one of the lawyers in Spain, because I said, I thought you guys were a democracy now. Well, obviously not. Well, he got offended. You shouldn't be, and stabbed me in the back. I said, instead of being offended and giving me more evidence that you're not a democracy, you should have proved me wrong, asshole. So I don't give a shit. I gotta keep a roof over my head. I gotta pay my bills. I gotta have at least a laptop that I can connect to the internet. It doesn't have to be any great thing, but needs to have at least enough juice to connect to the internet and stream stuff. So I don't give a shit. But so everybody is scurrying around trying to protect their jobs and afraid that somebody's going to steal their job. And as I say, that wasn't I couldn't give a shit. But the office manager, so after Floater, I got all of these for a year. I got these different contracts. Then I got contract in ICD, and eventually it ended up being extended and extended. I ended up there for 4 years. And finally, and this was just to stab me in the back, the office manager, she gave me a contract instead of I was a temp. Because with the temp, I'm earning minimum wage. Because half of what I'm earning goes to the temp agency. But this is also an issue that I have with all of these employment agencies. You're taking half of what these people are earning. When they get fired without cause, you guys should be the ones who are taking them to court and paying the legal fees and assuring that person gets another job, instead of saying, oh, I don't want to get involved in any unpleasantness, because technically they work for the employment agency. So they've been dropping the ball a lot, completely. There's a lot of ways that you can fight all of the problems that are going on in the workplace. So I'm with ICD. I'm now a contractual. So I mean, now the firing, yeah, okay, it's for me. I've got to challenge it myself. So what happened was, the office manager who had been there, everybody's complaining to me about, the bullying that's going on, a bunch of cackling hens, and they've got this whole little group. It's all a cult. It's all, Beverly Hills 90210, 90510, what was it? But, the show with Tori Spelling. Oh gosh, Tori Spelling, that hasn't come out too well for her, poor girl. So it's all this cult culture and bullying culture and groupies and the whole kit and caboodle. And so everybody's complaining to me about the problems because they know I'm taking all of these things and I'm going to court on the labor rights violations. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm watching, but until I find a lawyer, I mean, what am I going to do? I can't file myself. That would be stupid. Um, so then then it's Kate Phillips. She's from New Zealand. She's trying to advance her career in HR, and she's even studying and doing some certificates or maybe her master's. I'm not sure, but she's like professional. She's going to become this professional HR person before she was, she'd been from the secretary pool. So Adrian Thapa is angling for the position. And everybody's like, oh God, she's going to be even worse. She's going to be even worse. Now, Adrian Thapa had been my contact person. Well, the second contact person I had when I was at the IMF Family Association. So she knew about my illegal firing from the IMF Family Association and how pissed off I was with all the little wives, and particularly Anne Beatrix Keller, and how Anne Beatrix Keller I was going to see in court one day, come hell or high water. So she knew about all of that stuff. She still, picked a fight with me. So what happened was the IMF, they were doing renovations. So this department was moved across the street, and it's called 1919 Penn Avenue. It's a building across the street. So we were in there, and there's a coffee shop that was downstairs, and the back entrance to the building, which I forget if this is, I forget what it was, I Street or something, but the back entrance to the building, which is not on Pennsylvania Avenue, they were doing renovations, and it was closed. It was blocked. Now there's a coffee shop right next to that, and through there you have an entrance, a door into the building. So it was closed, so I went through the coffee shop. This is also, I was always the first to get in the office at like 7 o'clock in the morning, or 7:30. And so I'm going through, because I mean, the big screens and computers working in the IMF, that's one of the things that I miss, because now I got one little laptop with 8 GB. That's all I can afford. So it's let's just say it's not quite as easy. And I loved having those, various screens and stuff. But anyway, I don't think that there's any problem. And I even say to the people in the coffee shop, I said, oh my gosh, you're going to get a lot of traffic coming in through here with that entrance closed, thinking, get them to stop and have a cup of coffee. If I had been the manager of the coffee shop, I would have put out some, like little taste. You're not going to put out a whole donut here, have a donut. But, oh, here we have a little donut. You want a taste of a donut? Why don't you stop on your way up to work and have a coffee? Get a coffee. Trying up your sales. You got traffic literally being forced into your establishment, and you're gonna bitch? I'm like, no, I'm gonna go, let's sell, people, let's sell. Let's get them to stop and sell, What do you care if they go through your establishment? It did not even enter my mind that would upset this manager. So, yeah, it did. So, like, the second or third day, I go through, and he stands in front of me. And I'm like, is there some problem? What's the when I'm trying to, go through the door, he just blocks me. He stands in front of me. I'm like, is there a problem here? And he's like, you can't come through here. I mean, I'm like flabbergasted. And I'm like, my God, I was like, what's your problem? So I think I just went past him and I went up to the office and I called the management. I talked to the receptionist. I told her what happened. I was like, the guy's crazy. It was Russian. I was like, the guy's freaking crazy. And so I told the receptionist what happened. I go and I said, no, I'm going to call that, because she's like, well, you can call the management office. So I called the management office and I said, look, I'm sorry that this is totally inappropriate. I was trying to go through the coffee area. I mean, it's blocked. This man is completely rude. And I'm sorry, this is unacceptable. For me, I had my say, it was done, no big deal. See something, say something. For me, it's done. Oh, no. So Adrian Thapa, apparently she's got the hots for this Russian guy. Adrian also speaks Russian. She's Indian. She also, I don't know why she spoke Russian. Huh. That's something to ask. Find out. With all these spies coming in. So, I mean, one of the women in the office was like, everybody was telling me, go after Adrian. I'm like, no, I know, I'm documenting what she's doing. I'm going to file the complaints. Don't worry. I'm watching. I know Charmony's not watching any of this shit. And nobody else cares, but I'm watching. But that she's like a cougar and she's sexually harassing men and the IMF. So, and that they have complaints against her. So of course this should work in my favor. Because there's precedents when I'm going to file a complaint against her. So she comes and she calls me in and she's like, furious that I had called had notified and had said something to the office, the building management. I was like, excuse me, I think it's my duty to say something to the building management. I didn't do anything wrong. I've done nothing wrong and I didn't say anything, I feel it's my duty for something like that. That's totally inappropriate. Nobody should be speaking to anybody like that. And he's being rude and he should be told he's being rude. And this, like, what are you making a big deal about this shit for? So she's getting all pissed off because I'm not going to admit that I did something wrong. I mean, I know my goose is already cooked. I know she's going to get rid of me. She's not going to renew my contract. So my goose is cooked. And, but I'm also pissed off because I'm like, wait a second, why am I the temp, the contractor, the one with the most precarious employment situation going to take everybody on in here? All of these six-figure salary economists, they don't give a shit. All they care about is their pensions, their paychecks and pensions. Paychecks and pensions. You know how much the prep schools that their kids go to cost? These East Coast prep schools? Mine, Foxcroft, is $70,000 for Americans and $77,000 for international students. Per year. Per year. So imagine. You got 4 years of that, then you got 4 years of Ivy League colleges, and then they go and do the MBAs and the PhDs. Now, this is all being paid for by taxpayers' money. And tuition reimbursement, oh, liberal, you work, if you're an employee. See, this is also nobody's going to offer me a position, even, like, isn't it even as a secretary, and I could run circles around these people, whether it be the secretaries, the HR, the office managers, any of the administrative, or the economist. And they're all going to thumb their noses up at me. I'm like, oh, screw you. So, yeah, I'm not going to admit I did something wrong. And then add insult into injury, Kate Phillips calls me in and wants me to admit that I did something wrong. I'm like, Kate, I could maybe understand Adrian's pulling this shit with me, but I thought Kate Phillips was smarter than that. But no. So she's like, you did something wrong. You shouldn't have said anything to the management. I'm like, I have a duty to say something. If there's some problem going on here in this building or something, and these people, the manager of this coffee shop is being rude to people who work in the building, I think it's my duty to say something. What I couldn't figure out, why is everybody making a big deal out of this shit? So anyway, she got rid of me, and this is when I sent the letter to Sharmini Curry, because I said, if Adrian gets rid of me over this shit, I'm going to come after you as well. Now, of course, you don't say that directly in these letters if you want to look at this. But I posted to document the situation. I did a blog on Huffington Post. Unfortunately, now you got to pay for, before it was free, the articles on the Huffington Post. So if I pull it up, but what was it? Good governance. Oh no, the rite of passage. Dead and gone in the nation's capital. You can Google it and my name and the Huffington Post, and you can read it if you want to pay for it. I posted it there. I didn't use any names. I just said the place where I work, and this is ridiculous. This is the rite of passage. And when I worked in restaurants in DC in the 80s, my mother disowned me because I was working for a Democratic senator. She was a Republican through and through. So I had to work my way through school. In the mornings, I worked up in Capitol Hill for the senator, and in the evenings, I would work Georgetown. In those days, you really didn't have much downtown. And in restaurants and nightclubs. I worked at Paper Moon. Oh gosh, we had limousines outside all of the time. The food was crap, but it was the place to see and be seen in Georgetown at the time. Everybody downstairs, I'd constantly look underneath the stalls. I was like, come on, you guys, what are you putting only 2 stalls in this, in a place like this where you have all of these people? But anyway, I'd look underneath the stalls. If I saw 4 feet, I'd be like, look, ladies, I don't care what you're doing. I gotta pee. Everybody's always snorting cocaine all over the place. That's why I left the United States as well. It was a party hardy and snorting cocaine. So yeah, this is the great American dream that the World Bank and IMF have been embracing. So yeah, that's how the whole stupid thing went down, and I'm out of a job and I got to find another job. So, but what I couldn't believe is when I meet with somebody from HR for like the offboarding or whatever they call it, and I meet with her, and she said something about a cooling off period of 8 years when you leave the IMF. Like if you're contractual and they don't renew it, you have a cooling off. I said, ooh la, why would anybody need a cooling off period? She knew right then and there she had made a gaffe. So yeah, there's a lot of things. I want to see entire HR department, both the IMF and World Bank, in court. We are under American jurisdiction, and they keep on pulling out the diplomatic immunity card. I'm like, not gonna work, not with me. So anyway, that's the whole thing. You know, I went through the whole to Sharmini Curry. Here's the deal. Laying my cards on the table with you, Sharmini. You want to ignore me? Well, then I'll see you in court. So she ignored me. And so, oh, here's a copy of the article. Lessons learned in our nation capital and global governance. I forgot there was a copy of that. But so this is, there's some links, but this is talking about Patsy Geyer. So anyway, when I got ousted, then I did this whole report for the ethics committee, and a copy of it went to Christine Lagarde's inbox. I don't know if she ever saw it, if she just ignored me, or if she didn't. Neither here nor there. She had a responsibility. I sent it. It's like when they attack you in the courts with malicious and illegal litigation, they go, you're served. You can't say, oh, I didn't see it. Oh, too bad. You lost. Okay, so here. To highlight, you know, how out to lunch these people are and how they have dug their own graves.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Sophie. How are you? Okay, so this is an example, and I won't play the whole thing. You can listen to it if you want, because it gets it's a 25-minute explanation, but it does explain how cross-border cases of custody issues, violence against women, a lot of these issues, since it is happening in a cross-border context, like a UN report says, good practices, and of eliminating discrimination and violence against women is with cross-border cases. We have an opportunity to, have cross-border cooperation in solutions. Now, the key here is the consulate. The consulate, under the Convention of Consular Affairs, they have, relations, they have the power and the authority to, they cannot, how shall I say this? Because the consulates will say, we can't get involved in judicial proceedings in foreign countries. I'm like, I'm not asking you to intervene, is the key word they always use. I am asking you to do court watch. I am asking you to assure that my rights are being protected and respected, and tell these asshole judges and lawyers that if they screw with me and they don't, they screw up my defense, then you're going to come after them. Because they go, nah, 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 you can't touch me. I can do anything I want. Yeah, that's how bad it is. Okay, but what I want you to look at here is this Sophie Mervis. Her attitude. I slap this girl across the face.
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, so it's going to drop off, and then I have to get back on. But here, watch her. I mean, I'm taking up her valuable time. Come on. There. Oh,
I think you're frozen.
Yeah, okay, this is when I freeze. Okay, come back on.
No.
Okay, basically they're called expat wives clubs. What they do is they assist expatriated families who are living abroad. I mean, the American Women's Club, of course, their target are Americans. We've got the FIAF, which is targeting the French. Then you have the IMF Family Association, World Bank, Family Network. So there, there's lots. The original one is the Federation of American Women's Clubs Overseas. That was started in 1931. See how bored this woman is? One with the objective of bringing women together to promote world peace. And this is rude. This is a staffer for a congressional member, Congressman Dean Phillips, and defending the citizens' rights of Americans living abroad. So that's where my focus is in the issues, because my organization, Global Expats, it's really open for all people who are living abroad, regardless of what country and regardless of what nationality. But let's focus on the Americans living abroad. So I became involved in a domestic violence divorce case in Spain. So we're going to go flip over that. Okay. So now, how do they do that? Hold on. Okay. So that establishes the obligation of the American government to protect its citizens, even if they're in a foreign jurisdiction. Okay. So now, how do they do that? Their tool, if you will, is the consulate. So the consulate, there is the Vienna Convention of Consular Relations. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was 1963. So clearly, and all of these, the different categories, the different things, the different sections, it's all clearly marked in the Convention of Consular Relations. So I've been soliciting through the consulate, my consulate in Spain first. When they hung me out to dry, they said, nothing we can do. I said, of course, you have an obligation to do something. So when I got back to the States, I started lobbying the State Department. Now, not only on my case, other people who have brought me cases. Most of it is custody, but there is a man in Japan that was like industrial espionage, intellectual property. I mean, the thing is people come to me with all their evidence. I said, I don't have the power enough or authority to examine this. This has to be examined by the judicial systems. And if the judicial systems aren't doing it, well, that's when the State Department and the embassies and consulates come in. Are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're not doing that. They're refusing. I mean, I've worked my way all the way up to the State Department. It was under Senator Kerry. Oh gosh, and then I forget all of the State Department secretaries of state after that. So they've all gotten a letter. So since the State Department, all of these State Department secretaries of state are going to have to answer to the International Criminal Courts. This is the Epstein Files shit. See how this girl, this is the kind of snot-nosed brats that are working in government agencies. And it's not doing its job. I have been going over to Congress. Now, Americans living abroad don't have a representative because they're not living in a state. So what establishes, who you can solicit assistance from for a constituent request under, the federal agency is not doing its job, is any state where you have a family member, where you last lived, or you have lived. For me, this is Arizona, Louisiana, well, Florida because it also involves the industrial espionage in my case, because it was a web designer in Florida. So I've just solicited again assistance from Senator Scott and Senator Rubio in Florida. Rubio has responded. They said they're going to look into it. Again, this bucks it over to the State Department. Now, the State Department has got to start assuring that the consulates, the moment somebody comes to a consulate and said, I am in a judicial, whatever, if it's a hearing, whether it's a court case, in some sort of judicial or extrajudicial procedure, the State Department has an obligation
and the consulate has an obligation to assure that the rights of the litigants are being respected. Now, this can involve court watch. This can also involve processing of the papers, because I had all the time, civil servants who were giving me the runaround, giving me the wrong paper. They thought it was really funny, making this poor woman, fearing for her life and her life of her children, run around like a chicken with her head cut off, making sure that all of the papers were stamped, because otherwise I was going to go to jail under contempt of court. Now we have more and more women who are being thrown in jail. There's one case that's well known. She was a Spanish national in New Jersey. She spent 8 years in jail, and it lacked total standing in New Jersey courts. I'm not sure after she was released. I mean, she had a doozy of a lawsuit against the New Jersey courts. I have a doozy of a lawsuit against the Spanish courts. Now, I have been soliciting assistance because I've been working, my focus in the argumentation is under violence against women as human rights violations. So I've been targeting the human rights community. Baltasar Garzón, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's a big wig human rights defender under universal jurisdiction. He's in Spain. Doesn't respond to my emails. And he was a good friend of former presidential candidate in Colombia, Ingrid Betancourt, who I knew and who I supported in her presidential campaign. See, nobody wants to, they just want to get up on podiums and give speeches. I mean, everybody knows Baltasar Garzón just wants to have an audience. Amal Clooney is another one we have contacted. I recontacted her again and I said, would you please bring this to the attention of the press, because women and children are being killed, they're being raped, they're being incarcerated, women are fleeing for their lives. We have an underground network of, when we tell women, if you choose to take your child and run, you better be damn careful that this is really, really life-threatening, because the FBI will come after you, Interpol will come after you. And the women who do, I mean, it is literally life-threatening for their children. And the courts will not look at any of it. And then, I don't know if you're familiar with the International Hague Convention on child abduction. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
So I've looked into that. That's a woman at Berkeley who's running that. I've sent emails to them. I said, wait a second. The only thing that convention is looking at is who has jurisdiction. But all of these lawyers, and I mean, I just made this point in a letter that I just finished, Antonio Banderas and Melanie Griffin, if we have to stop, one of the first things is that lawyers are initiating and submitting malicious litigation to the courts that lack standing and lack cause. Are you familiar with standing and cause?
Yes.
Okay. So if it lacks standing, I've told this, I don't know how many times to lawyers and people, litigants, look, if you want to take a case to the courts, that you are going to be introducing false testimony, false evidence that lacks standing and cause, you and your lawyer can end up with a lawsuit or end up with prosecution for abusing the courts just to make money. Now, this gets into the case of Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell. As I said, I'm working for all nationalities, doesn't matter jurisdiction. There's no favoritism here. I'm not looking for anybody getting favoritism. I'm looking for the laws to be upheld and the rights of litigants to be upheld. So the case against Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell lacked standing and cause in New York courts. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the case. It was, the contention was, and that's another thing, the contention was this is pedophilia. Pedophilia is babies, toddlers, and prepubescent children. It is not post-pubescent children, young women or young men. And that's in societies across the world, because those are ages where these people become sexually active. And the average age that everybody loses their virginity is 17 years old. So everybody's a pedophile. So this is, it's everybody. Well, do you like Prince Andrew? I like Prince Andrew. I mean, my roommate in England was the sister of a good friend of King Charles, but I don't know King Charles or Prince Andrew. I've been trying to get the Earl Bathurst through Hetty, but nobody reads it. You have the secretaries that just shove the mail wherever.
Like her.
So I'm like, I don't know him. I don't care. I don't know. It's not a question of me liking somebody or disliking somebody. It's a question if the person's rights have been violated. And that is clearly the case. Ghislaine Maxwell has been incarcerated for 20 years in a case that had no standing or cause in those courts. She has a doozy of a lawsuit
Okay, so this was about the Virginia Gouffre. Yeah, I have to say, stuff has come out about Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh my Lord. But this is creating even a worse situation for all of the little socialite wannabes who want to depose me and become queen. I loved it with, Cornelia Guest. She launched her career as Deb of the Decade in the 1980s as the closest thing that the country had to royalty. I've been telling Cornelia for years, I'm like, excuse me, Cornelia, we're a republic. We don't have royalty. And if you want to play that game of who's going to be the queen, the last queen standing, okay, we can play that one. I got the founding fathers. You got the industrialists who created World War I and World War II. So yeah, let's get out there and put up your dukes. Want to play queen? You got to fight for your queenship
against the New York court, as does Prince Andrew against Ghislaine Maxwell, Lisa Bloom. Lisa Bloom's the lawyer on that. She's Gloria Allred's daughter. Now, those are feminist, problematic feminist lawyers. They come under a domestic violence extremist in the Biden 2021 report. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. I went through that report. I said, yeah, these are extremists, these are extremists, these are extremists, and they're wreaking havoc. And they're getting away with it and just put up another NGO. So the problems are complex. It's all, as I say, war on domestic terrorism. All of the victims have finally found a lawyer who has submitted our cases, our grievances to the International Criminal Courts. So we're trying to push that through. That's one of the reasons I'm like, Antonio Banderas, would you please, you did a whole video for the UN. The UN's sitting on this. The World Bank is sitting on this. The IMF, World Bank, Family Associations, they know about my case in Spain. I worked for the IMF Family Association for 2 years. They've been, sitting there laughing about all of this stuff for 15 years while I've been separated from my sons. And all I wanted to do was start a business. And he said, if you do, I'll kill you. Because Microsoft, there was a business manager for a business developer for Microsoft, George Morrison. He became interested in the project in 2007. It's basically the website is a cross between TripAdvisor, Facebook, and LinkedIn, but for the expat moms, because they're the ones who buy all the stuff. But they don't go to country clubs. They go and buy food and beds and consumer goods. This is, all of my friends, the celebrities and Cornelia Guest, Deb of the Decade, she was at my school in Foxcroft. They've got to come down from their ivory towers and stop being, I keep on telling all of these socialites, you better be concerned about the 20-year prison sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell. Because the jurisprudence that set has really set you ladies up for a fall. Now start using your voice to expose all of these things. So I'm hoping, that with the American Broads Act and the committee there, we can get a voice there because everybody's being shut up. And they just put up another, NGO. When I was in Spain, I went to Amnesty International Spain because all of these reports, according to them, I had 1/4% chance of survival in Spain. My mother was good friends with John McCain's campaign manager for the 2008. I said, Mom, would you please ask John McCain to pick up the phone, tell the consulate to do its job. Oh, I don't want to get involved. This is the women who are covering all of this up. Believe me, I got names you can't believe who've known about my case. I said, you guys, what difference is this than some Muslim country where I want to start, a business and my husband comes in and destroys my loom or my sewing machine and says, no, you're not working. And I'm going to kill you if you do it. And everybody in the community says, well, go ahead. No difference. I mean, the difference is this is not a sewing machine. It was $1 billion a year company. I mean, when I showed the projections to my ex-husband of $1 billion revenues, I knew he wanted to kill me. So, but I'm not trying to bring to this platform my specific case. If anybody wants to look at it, war on domestic terrorism, taking back America for the people is more the blogs and other cases that I followed. I also have pending lawsuits in Washington against employers. The first headhunter I met with in 2009, she said, I'll never find you a job because anybody interviewing you isn't afraid that in 6 months you'll have their job. I've barely been able to keep a roof over my head with minimum wage jobs because of age discrimination. And I'm white and I'm American. And I mean, I've got lawsuits against the IMF. I was there for 7 years. I was terminated twice illegally.
Yeah, okay. So we all know about that. So voila. So that, you know, wouldn't, like, in a normal world of logic, of humanity, you would think that, like, I wouldn't be just hitting my head up against a brick wall everywhere I go. This is supposed to be the icon of democracy. This is, you know, the greatest democracy that ever lived, the greatest country. We defend everybody's rights. We do advance human rights. All the bullshit that they've been. Okay, so to finish up, we're going to my current employer, Indonesia. Oh gosh, it's been a long, I've already gone, it's already over 2.5 hours. So I'll do this real quick. I'm not going to read this whole thing.
My goodness, has a lot happened since.
Oh gosh, this is Barron. That's not the one that I wanted. I got the wrong, okay, remove link. Okay, I'll just scroll down real quick. So this gets into a blog that's posted on, where is it? Minute here. On my LinkedIn account. So managerialism versus capitalism versus communism, Mandevillean wolves in sheep clothing, JFK admin to Jean d'Arc of Colombia, Ingrid Betancourt. So in a nutshell, what it is that Ingrid Betancourt, she was a presidential candidate of Colombia in 2002. She was kidnapped by the FARC. And so that's kind of how everybody knows about her. Otherwise, she would have been some candidate that nobody even ever remembered. She was for the Green Party, and her father was from Medellin, and from a, you know, I would say working class rather than poverty stricken. I mean, not poor, but working class family from Medellin. And he came to the United States on a scholarship and became an economist. And then he became, you know, the economist. He served in the government of Colombia several times as the head of education, and I forget the entire name of the department, but he was also in Washington. And when he was in Washington, he was involved with the affirmative action stuff for students and international students coming into the United States. So that's Ingrid and Astrid. So our paths crossed in Bogota. Ingrid is launching, she was a senator, and she was launching her presidential candidate. I mean, she was for the Green Party. She had no chance of winning, but you know, she had launched her book. Her father had also, he had worked for UNESCO, and they had lived in Paris when she was growing up. So she lived a lot in Paris, and, you know, she had this romanticized view of the international development community, and her parents being accepted by the international, you know, community. And her mother worked in Paris, I don't know, with children's rights or something, you know. I mean, it's always the same, but they're in bed with the government agencies, and they're not, you know, doing, like with all of these women, the children's rights, like Mario Cuomo's wife. Oh yeah, I worked with children's rights. Yeah, right. Ingrid and Astrid Betancourt's mother, education and children's rights. But as I say, it's always been schmoozing and cruising and getting a photo with the people in the government agencies and there for the parties, not there for the real work. And this is why we have such a problem with, in the international adoption. This is trafficking of children. I mean, with the Epstein files coming out, the Sasha Riley testimony, the cannibalism, the disappearing children and babies and fetuses, and many, 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 many. Really, this is, even more than I thought was going on. I thought with Epstein, it was, as everybody said, oh, he liked them young. Yeah, okay, not 20 something, like 17, 18. So, but there's shit coming out that even is shocking me, and I don't think anybody could shock me anymore. So, she got, after she was liberated from the FARC, she went to go and study human rights at Oxford. As I say, it's this whole elitist group of people who live in ivory towers, and they're just following the lead of the kings and queens and aristocracies of a bygone era, but which their revolutions that they're promoting around the world as enlightening democracy and ushering in democracy, when they're just ushering in a change of regime and another elitist who will be in their pocket, another authoritarian government that'll be in their pocket. So anyway, my beef with Ingrid and Astrid is, excuse me, y'all in your ivory towers up there, the people on the ground are getting pissed off, and their children are going to be stateless, rightsless people, because the kids have, I know one of her sons has an American nationality. He was born in the States. They were in DC for a while. But then the others are French and Colombian dual nationals, as are Ingrid and Astrid. Yeah, well, you want to strip me of my rights as an American citizen, as a French citizen? We play hardball. We play hardball, Ingrid and Astrid. I mean, this whole thing. I mean, it's kind of like I keep on getting this from all of the ladies. Oh, you missed the boat. You opted out of the workforce. You left a high-paying career and high-power career in finance, and you became this trad wife and a stay-at-home mom. I even get it from my younger sister, who's like one of the stupidest people I know. Well, that's not fair. I know stupider than that. But you missed the boat, and I keep on going. Guess what, y'all? The boat you got on is a Titanic, and it left me at the dock holding the booty. Now, Nicole King in Marbella is like, well, I hardly think that you are going to be holding the booty. I'm like, yeah, well, you've been off playing. I've been hard at work. You saw with my what I explained to this Sophie Mervis. I don't stop. Maybe nobody sees any of the work that I'm doing because it's just another email, another email. I'm like, you're going to ignore me? Okay, I'm not going to send you a 1-page letter. I'm going to send you a 30-page letter or 40-page letter. And the day that I get your ass in court, you're not going to say you didn't know, because I told you. So I get in these, this is why I get in these long, long explanations with each one of them. I'm like, okay, and here I'm documenting it, and you're not going to say, I didn't know, because that's what everybody in the Nuremberg trials, that was their excuse. Not going to work. Nope. So finally gonna get to my donut store. Actually, you can,
Donissima is conjuring up a frightfully fun treat with their limited edition Halloween.
Yeah, you can go on my YouTube channel and find some of my, I mean, I'm documenting, I don't remember everything. And I mean, this is not just for the courts. This is also in terms of the the problems in business models. What I'm looking at right now is not only the mismanagement of everybody and how this is producing disgruntled and bad workers, but also in the International Square where Donissima is located. They just took over Junks. We used to just sell churros, and this was owned by Casa Teresa, the Spanish restaurant that's in there as well. And there's the restaurant, but then they have within the square side, the takeout. And you have tables where you can eat. So I work over there as well. The churro place was just taken over by Miguel. He's a Venezuelan, and he's got these donuts. They are very good donuts. We'll say that. They were very good donuts. But, I'm like, if you can't manage something, if you'd be like, okay, fine, just take it over. You're going to do all of the ordering. You're going to, okay, fine. But, I don't know. Amy, the stupid bimbo, she's going to do the ordering. Well, I never have it. I'm constantly out of shit. So I don't want to hear how we have to give these young bimbo kids chances. And every time you give them a chance, they're dropping the ball. Yeah, we still need favoritism because we got to give these kids a chance. And what about the old ladies? We got to eat as well. Oh, I saw in the Epstein files, it's like, oh, no, the old people, we just exterminate them. See, this is all leading up of, age discrimination. Yeah, no lawyer is going to go on that one unless he's got an angle. So anyway, okay, this is the Donissima
Donuts collection. They have 3 handcrafted
I've been looking for investment money to start my global expat project. Part of it is restaurants, but of different cuisines of different countries. But I've always had a big beef, particularly this is with the celebrity chefs, the intellectual property of the cuisines of everybody's. This is the homemaker. This is women. That's their intellectual property. Now you're stealing their intellectual property. You're making these bankruptcy building businesses. Your product is not as good as the homemade donut, as we saw in the example at the beginning with the IMF guys and their donut. The homemade was a superior product. And then add insult to injury, you're getting the concentration of investment money so you can make donuts.
Creations that mix spooky season flavors with Latin flair. And joining us now to show us how scarily good these treats are is Chef Miguel Guerra from Donissima. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Of course. This looks so beautiful. Like they almost look too pretty to eat, and I love that they're spooked out for Halloween.
You can eat it.
But you can eat it. Yeah. So tell us what inspired these Halloween collection donuts.
So we try to make as many seasonal donuts as we can, obviously.
Okay.
We try to catch up with all of these holidays and important dates. So here we did we love red velvet, so we did a bloody velvet, as we call it.
That's
so
this one
that's
right
this one right here.
Bloody velvet.
So then we have our fall Halloween as well, white chocolate and brown butter with a pumpkin spice cream, and then we call it alfajor, which is the pumpkin on top.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
It's very good.
I know that sort of, the Latin flavors are really important to you. And I see some really unique ones over here. Is this how you're able to kind of get the flavors out in your donuts?
Yeah. So we take the classic American donut and then mix it with our Latin American flavors and fruits and fresh fruits. So here we have I would say one of the most popular. It's a guava and cheese. Then we have the arequipe, which is a Colombian dulce de leche. Oh, wow. We have our classic chocolate, mango and passion fruit. Then we have piña colada.
Oh my gosh, wow. How do you go from thinking about these to creating something so beautiful? What's the process like for you?
Some of them, like piña colada, which is a classic, so we kind of want to bring that unique drink and flavor to our donuts. So some of the things that we put together, like guava and cheese, is also classic. So these are things that I grew up with, things that we kind of come up and research about, and different ingredients and different combinations that we put together into a donut. Yeah.
How does the Latin community in the DC area, how are they finding kind of these really great flavors in something as an American as a donut?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's something that you think donuts are, vanilla and chocolate and more classic flavors. Yeah. But then when you come on and you see like, oh, you're doing guava and cheese, and for a Cuban and for a Dominican, the people that actually, that's something that they grew up with. Yeah. It's really unique and amazing.
Very unique and amazing. Are we going to put something together here?
Yes.
All right.
So hand me over here.
Yes.
So we're going to build the pumpkin spice alfajor.
Okay.
So these are our donuts. So we ferment the dough for 24 hours.
Okay. So that's, I mean, I'm the white gringa who's been offered up as a sacrificial lamb. The management in the place, I mean, how shall I say, shit. And as I say, what has interested me with the business model that they have going on is these establishments. So you have, like, for him, the donuts, then we have the Spanish food, there's a sushi place, there's another Mexican and Italian, they have some African grains and vegetables and things, another coffee shop, and pizza. So it's kind of, international square. But so it's this hybrid business model, if you will. So it's managed like HR and pay, and they have kitchens downstairs. So you have a whole staff. They do all, like for the other coffee shop, they do croissants, a lot of different other baked goods. And that's cooked downstairs, and they have these huge kitchens. Great kitchens. And then they'll order in bulk for all of the different places. So all of the cups and all of that. And for the business owners, another thing, all you need to do is put in the system, I need this, I need that, so many cups, so in terms of ordering, you don't have a whole bunch of different providers, and it's all streamlined, and ordering in bulk, they're getting a better price. But my question becomes is, well, yeah, but you're also going to be adding some more bureaucracy into that. Is what you're saving in terms of money and time in your supplies, is that really worth the extra personnel? Let's just say in this model, it's so mismanaged, you really couldn't be able to evaluate that situation, because of course it's not working. But I wouldn't say necessarily it's because of the business model. I'm just saying it's because of who you have managing not only the individual establishments, but also the downstairs. So, once again, I got all sorts of lawsuits against discrimination. This is ridiculous. I have a business degree from GW, went to exclusive boarding schools, yet, I'm treated worse than illiterate immigrants who are coming off the boat. I'm even thrown down farther down than them. Why? because I want to expose the Epstein files. I want to expose the pedophiles. I want to expose the corruption. And I keep on trying to explain to everybody how the implications for them under RICO, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, and Enemy Alien Act, because it is colluding in the destruction of this country and its democracy and subversion of the U.S. Constitution. I don't know how much clearer I can be. Okay, well, we are just shy. We're going to hit 3 hours. Then he just hit 3 hours. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll be posting this tomorrow morning, and let's see how we go with the meetings and what they have to say. I mean, I can only have access to the online stuff. Oh, believe me, I have no desire to go and attend their meetings. This whole stuff, everybody wants an invite to these stupid functions. Oh, couldn't. Y'all are crazy. I couldn't imagine a more boring way to spend my day and my time, and a waste of my time, than going to these frickin' meetings. Davos, the spring meetings here, it's all for these guys. The only thing, I mean, the IMF wives told me from the beginning, they said, oh, all of these meetings, that's so they can go and have their extramarital affairs in peace. I'm like, yeah. So that's it for this evening. Bye-bye. Good night.